Hello, I'm an artist. I used to work in animation, and I know us artist types tend to also be sensitive and empathetic, with a tendency to suffer from depression. I'm not sure if it's what makes us natural artists, or we just turn to art as a way to escape from our unhappiness. Art has certainly helped me over the years with depression. That and getting out into nature and exercise will help lift us out of depression. I can guarantee that. But when we're at our lowest, I know from experience, depression can feel paralysing. You can't even lift yourself out of bed, let alone get out of the house. This video is about the methods I used to get myself out of being stuck in bed like that, because I couldn't face life. And about what I've learned that prevents me from diving into that deep, dark depression again, just in case it can help you or someone you know. From my own experience of suicidal depression, I know how hard it can be to even just lift your head off the pillow when you're in that dark place. You feel totally, completely drained, physically and spiritually. There seems absolutely no way you can sum up the strength or will to even get out of bed, let alone brave the world outside. You just want it to all go away, to end, but you haven't even got the will or energy to get up and end it. It's like paralysis. You can't move. You just want life to go away. And actually, I nearly managed that. A few years ago, with no will to live, I stopped in bed and gave up on life. I stopped eating and drinking. The guilt trips others were playing on me, or I was playing on myself, had me cornered, and the only way out that I could see was sleeping my way to death. In that stuck in bed mode, I just stopped eating and then stopped drinking. My strength and consciousness just started fading into oblivion. I guess animals do this when they sense they're at the end of their physical life. They find a safe, peaceful place and lie down to die. And on this occasion, I too had lain down in my bed to die. Till, after a couple of days, synchronicity stepped in and dragged me up and out of bed. I got a phone call. Someone had answered it because I wouldn't have picked up the phone. But I got the message. Somebody wanted to buy one of my paintings. A flicker of hope. More like a lightning bolt. Someone valued my work enough to buy a painting. My life was of some value after all. And yep, like a bolt of lightning right at my arse, I shot out of bed to pack and deliver this painting. I didn't half feel weak and shaky though. Not a good way to lose weight. Fortunately, I've discovered Dolores Cannon and her quantum health hypnosis technique. And since my session, I've not been stuck in bed with depression for a couple of years. But recently, I had a reminder of what it felt like. I didn't want to get up. Not because I was tired, but because I was feeling so low. And it took one Steve Noble emotional rescue meditation and his I grow through ease and grace affirmations and the happy song to get me out of bed that morning. Luckily, I had the morning off. So I completely lifted my mood with a run in the sun along the river, flushing out the tension and toxins from my body. I felt great after that. And when I checked my favourite YouTube astrologers, I knew it wasn't just me. They all said that most people were facing similar downer energies at that time. A revisit of past traumas for purging. I wasn't alone. Over the years, running, cycling and painting birds outdoors in nature just about kept me going, kept me alive. When I had hit rock bottom emotionally and physically, a week by the sea watching and painting wildlife would completely miraculously and totally rejuvenate my crushed and crumpled spirits. Watching, painting and being in the company of birds and animals gives us so much joy. I'm sure their spirits lift and refresh us. Personally, I don't think they're on earth for us to use and eat them. I think they're here, helping humanity, lifting our spirit. But I'm biased. I've been veggie for 40 years now. But I do believe humanity need to be more aware of the power of plants and animals, the power they have to uplift us, and to show them more respect. I love them. But it wasn't until I was in my mid-50s, in 2019, that I discovered Dolores Cannon and defeated suicidal depression once and for all. And I'm so mad with myself that I didn't discover her sooner. I've wasted so much life being depressed. My quantum health hypnosis cleared my suicidal depression in just one session. And I think I experienced my awakening then. You can listen to my first YouTube video, Don't Commit Suicide, I Did and Lived Again to Regret It, to hear how that happened. I know reincarnation is a fact, so I don't worry that much about the future anymore, because I know there'll be many more lives to experience. And while I don't want to fail in this life, the pressure's off. I can continue to strive for my artistic masterpiece in a future life. The opportunities have expanded to beyond infinity. Actually, I'm going to need lots and lots of lives, because I want to paint every living thing on this amazing, varied and abundant and beautiful planet. Even if I end up losing everything in this life, ultimately it's not so serious, because I'll have other lives to experience having it all. So please find out what Dolores Cannon discovered through her clients while they were in trance. She wrote many books about the similarities of their experiences, the historical evidence that they uncovered, and, this is weird, the same collective voice that came through most of them, offering help and advice to humanity. Her discoveries resolved all the questions that I had been searching for answers to all my life, so they might help you too. Now, you've probably experienced this too. When I was low, friends would try to help by saying I should compare my life to the desperately poor and starving, or those with terminal cancer who wanted to live. But I was doing that, and I felt powerless to help them and stop the injustices, the wars, the famine, the suffering going on for all life on Earth, and witnessing the destruction of the planet. It was all adding to my guilt and depression, and feeling the absolute hopelessness of life. We get depressed because we are such sensitive, empathetic souls. We feel the sadness and suffering of all. I know now life on Earth will soon be better, and the cleanup is coming fast. Love and respect for the planet is huge. People are prioritising ethics, so I worry less. But I also know we're each responsible for ourselves, and we have chosen our life experiences and lessons before we were born. I chose the themes and hang-ups that I would attract throughout my life till I learnt to overcome them. My soul wanted to experience life. Could I appreciate the highs as much without having the lows to compare them to? Not sure. But I certainly would be bored without some challenges. And now I love my highs, my moments of bliss so much. I do feel sad and down occasionally, but I won't let that feeling last. I don't allow myself to get that low for long, no matter what. I've learned depression is not an illness, it's an emotion, the opposite of happiness. It's sadness that has gone on too long, and it'll make us ill if we don't act on it. Depression is a destructive, discouraging emotion that has a negative effect on our health, draining our energy. It's showing up what we don't want. Whereas happiness is constructive and encourages and has a positive effect on health and energy levels. It's showing us the way. So I control my emotions now. I won't let them control me. I understand them as messengers, our guidance system, and the uncomfortable ones deliver hugely important messages. And there's consequences if they're ignored. So I sit with them a while to work out what the message is, why I feel bad, and what to do or change in myself or in my life. But it took about a year of retraining my brain and my thought patterns to stop my feelings for taking control to the point where I didn't want to face the day. If ever I wake up in that total despair now, with that stuck in bed feeling, just in case this helps you too, this is how I get out of bed and get over it. I refocus my thoughts by observing myself getting out of bed in my imagination, getting ready to do my most favourite thing, which is for me going out to sketch birds. Or I'll do a Steve Noble meditation playing through earphones, and after remind myself of all the precious time I'm wasting in bed when I could be freeing up time to go sketching my wild friends, the birds. I heave myself out of bed, keeping my focus on getting out to sketch the birds. And as my emotions improve with the thought of going sketching, amazingly the problem thoughts fade into the background. I just know I don't want to waste any more of my life feeling miserable, because it doesn't help or change a thing. I'd rather stay happy. We all strive to lift our spirits. Aiming for happiness is what drives our lives forward. And when we're at our lowest, we look to spiritual remedies investigating different ideologies and methods, and even gurus. And I did, to a certain extent. But you really don't need to spend amazing amount of money going on retreats and donating to gurus, and especially not starving your body and taking mind-altering drugs, which I really don't recommend. I re-educated myself about how powerful our thoughts and emotions are, and thanks to some wonderful YouTube influencers like Teal Swan and Nick Bro, and spiritual channels like Abraham Hicks, I realised my thoughts and emotions are powerful, powerful tools to attract and create, not just for ourselves, but for the rest of the world too. And I'd been ignorantly misusing these power tools for the whole of my life. When you understand the emotional guidance scale, it's really quite simple. And understand your emotions are your guidance system, but they're also magnetic. What you put out comes right back to you, and life is like a mirror reflecting you back to you. So love, respect and care for yourself and your body, because if you don't, no one else will either. Depression is not a virtue. Contrary to what the church appears to promote, feeling guilt and sadness for others, basically taking on their pain and suffering as if it was your own, grief, shame, humility, lack of self-worth and suffering, as if mental self-flagellation and self-loathing was a pious requirement to get entry through the pearly gates. Self-loathing and self-harming won't take you to heaven. You'll just end up in a hell on earth. And I know, I've wasted years of my life there struggling to be a good person, and I never felt good enough. I don't believe spirituality needs religion. I don't follow one. The Bible isn't the Word of God. It was written and eternally edited, misused and misunderstood by men. I mean, suffer little children doesn't translate well in modern language. It's such a misread phrase. I was misguided by the church and Bible. As a child, I tried so hard to be a good little girl. I was so religious, sang hymns all the time, cried every Good Friday for poor Jesus crucified on the cross. He died because of my sins. I was born a sinner. My first suicide attempt at the age of just 9 years old, I was suffering little child, sacrificing myself to get to Jesus. Yep, I was slightly strange, quiet little girl, perhaps slightly autistic. I didn't speak much, so no one knew the confused religious stuff going on in my head. I was a good little girl, always feeling guilty for thinking about myself, trained myself to self-loathe, because to like myself was vanity, another sin. I trained myself never to appreciate or value anything about me, not even my life. Always humble, never good enough, God-fearing. So my life attracted people and events that reflected my emotions, my thoughts, and feelings about myself. And this is why I'm now re-educating myself about what I believe about me, highly valuing myself, because I noticed a continuous cycle of bullying, of unfaithful and narcissistic boyfriends throughout my life. And here's a warning for anyone who is suicidal like I was. After years of not appreciating or loving myself, of not valuing my life, of being fearful of life and wanting to die, I ended up with a man who reflected all of that. He didn't love me either, and beat me on a regular basis, sometimes just because it was raining. Somehow I was guilty for everything, even the bad weather. So there's the lesson. I felt guilt and got the blame for everything. I was fearful of life, so with him I ended up living in absolute fear. I wanted to die, and I faced death during his beatings, more like hours-long torture sessions, while he threatened to kill me and my family if I left. During those sessions, I'd shake uncontrollably. I really thought I was going to die, and I really wanted to live. When I did escape, in appreciation of my survival, afterwards I experienced some of the best, most fun years of my life. But it was a tough lesson, an extreme experience, and I didn't understand then how the law of attraction works. I hadn't even heard of them. So I'm begging all of you who feel as low as I used to, not to attract a bad experience, an awful lesson, especially one as bad as that. So drag yourself out of bed. Don't allow anyone, especially you yourself, to bring you down, because I know now our emotions attract our life experiences. Take action as soon as possible on the little hints they give you, because if we ignore our emotions, the hints could turn into proper slappings to get our attention. Heed this warning. As outlandish as it might sound, scientists are just beginning to investigate how our emotions are magnetic. Check the findings of HeartMath Institute. Each of our emotions resonate, generating vibrations of various electromagnetic frequencies, and they are detectable outside the body and affect the frequencies of all and everything else, and vice versa. We are affected by the frequencies of everyone else too. So this is another motivating factor for me. I never let my depression take hold, because I don't want others to feel my pain. I don't want any other conscious being to feel that bad. There's also a great reason to be happy right now. We're part of the ascension of our beautiful planet, of all life. The not-so-distant future is looking brighter, and we could all help by using the influence of our positive thoughts and emotions, good vibrations, sending out happy electromagnetic frequencies to the world. I know it certainly isn't easy right now. We're all feeling each other's worries and loss badly. I really pick up on the energy of anger, worry and sadness when I go shopping these days. And we're all empaths, so I bet you do too. It feels apocalyptic, like we're in the middle of Revelations, but it's the revealing. I was surprised to learn that the Greek meaning of the apocalypse is not disaster. It means to reveal, to uncover, to lay bare. It's the disclosure of secrets, but the word holds a shocking intensity with its meaning. So if we're going to attract a good outcome with our emotions, we had better stay happy and hopeful, imagining a fair and equal world. And change is coming fast. I see society is becoming more ethically minded. It's really evident. Ethical financial investments are soaring. Even the dirty energy suppliers are promoting their green alternatives. But watch out for the spin though. I discovered our emotions are key to not just our own happiness, but of the whole planet too. Learn how to manifest. That is, using the superpower tools that are our emotions and thoughts to attract a wonderful life and the perfect planet. Discover your antidepressant, not the drugs, they made me worse. Give yourself a present. Go treat yourself to your favourite thing to do, as long as it's good for your body. Love and respect the amazing miracle of your physical body that's carried and supported you all your life. I've always sensed the body as a living planet in itself, a mass of cells working together under the instructions of your conscious mind and your emotions. So be grateful to your body. Love and appreciate and value the hard work it is doing in the advancement of your soul. If you find yourself stuck in that paralysing depression, remember, being depressed won't improve your circumstances, and they might even attract something unpleasant. Being nice to you is being nice to the world too. Give yourself a cuddle. Tell your body you love it. Tell Mother Earth you love her. Get out of bed and go outside and play the game of life less seriously, because no one really dies. Never ever. Thankfully, it's a world without end.